What is the biggest struggle you're having when it comes to helping your loved one live an adult life? This is the question I've been asking you, families, and I've got an overwhelming response back. Hundreds of responses, almost 500 responses actually. And there's some common themes coming out, but there's clearly one uh, most popular response or one most common response that parents and caregivers are sharing to this question of the biggest struggle you're having when it comes to helping your adult loved one live an adult life. Any guesses to what it is? All right, I'm going to spill the beans here. The number one reply is, where do I start? Where do we start? Right? There's so many places where you could start, and there's many variations of this response that I've got back from families. Because there is so many different places. It could be, do I start with independence? Do I start with getting supports in place? Do I start with finances or trusts or creating a home? There's just so many starting places. It can become overwhelming. Where do we start? How do we get started? So this is what I help families with, right? I've helped hundreds and hundreds of families to get started, right? In my role as a family coach. And I also lean on my experience as a family member. So to get started, and let me bring down this little overlay. I'm Eric Gall, family coach, family member. So I want to help you get started. Okay, so we've got an upcoming free workshop that's going to help you get started with life planning, and you can click the link below and get started with me live in this workshop. And we'd love to have you there if you haven't yet signed up. But I want to give you some insights into how I support families to get started. And it's EPBP. Okay, that makes no sense at all. So let me dive into it. Or EOBP. Okay, so the E, what does the E mean? E means emotional readiness. Okay, and that means your level of readiness. Because it's like there's so much emotionally involved with thinking about how do I support my loved one to move forward. What does the future look like for my loved one? That's a scary question. I get it, right? There's a lot of fears that come up within that, and a lot of them are linked into safety. So this is an area where we need to do a little bit of work. You need to do a little bit of work. And this is where I help you do some work around this and to process some of these fears. Because if we don't do that, they get in the way and we can't get started. You can't get started. Okay, so it's a hard place and a hard thing to do, but we need to do some of this emotional readiness work. Okay, so that's the E. So we've got EOBP, the O. O stands for ordinary possibilities. Ordinary possibilities. Now, what does that mean? Well, often what's presented to us, our family, or you, as maybe a parent or a caregiver, is the special needs or the SN possibilities. Okay, and there's more. There's better. There's more than a group home for your loved one. There's better than a group home for your loved one to live in. There's better than a day program for your loved one to go to. And those are the ordinary possibilities, right? Some of those ordinary possibilities, those are opportunities where everybody else gets opportunities, okay? So those are the ordinary places in community. And we need to think through, well, if your loved one's 20 or 25 or 16 or 30 or 40 or whatever age they are, right? What are some of the ordinary things that someone of that age might be doing in your community, and to explore those ordinary possibilities. And in the live upcoming workshop that we've got around life planning, we're going to dive into what are some of those ordinary possibilities available for your loved one. What if some other families do? Because I want to give you ideas in terms of what's possible, right? You need to know what's possible to be able to think differently, to be able to imagine better with your loved one. Okay, so we've got E, we've got O. The next letter was B. Okay, what is B? B is best practices. Okay, so other families have gone before us, and there's lots of things we can learn from those families that are going to save us a lot of headache and a lot of heartache. and a lot of stress and anxiety. And so we can cut through some of that. Okay. And there's best practices that will help us get through that. And I want to share some of those best practices with you. I'm going to do that in the life plan workshop that's upcoming. And then the last piece is P, plan, right? ER or EOBP, plan. So you need a plan, right? You need a plan, and I want to help you build that plan. In other words, a vision, right? You might have heard this be referred to as a person-centered or person-directed plan. Okay, so in this free workshop, we're going to help you get started on that plan. Okay, so going back to this big question that so many of you have, where do I start, right? You start with emotional readiness, figuring out the ordinary opportunities, learning some of the best practices, and pulling all of that together into an awesome ordinary life plan for your loved one, okay? And you get started by joining me in the upcoming workshop. If you haven't registered yet, I'd love you to join us. You can click the link below to join us. If you haven't registered, we'd love to have you there, and it's going to help you get started. And if you've already started, it's going to help. We want you to join us as well, because it's always, you need to rethink your plan. You need to, it's kind of an evolutionary process, right? We kind of always have to come back to that plan and our vision and continue to update it. So if you've already started, we'd love you to join us as well. All right. So click the link below and register if you haven't yet. I'm Eric Gall. Together, let's take a small step forward.